Good morning, New Zealand. Hope you had a great weekend. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and then you'll get the alerts. But anyway, it is Monday morning, start of a new week. Got a lot of information to get through this morning. Let's get straight into it. Welcome to Daybreak. Yes, good morning to you. All sixes and sevens this morning, just getting myself sorted out, but good to see everybody online already, the comments coming through. Monday morning, 13th of October, halfway through October. We've got a long weekend. This time in 2 weeks, it'll be a public holiday. So that's a nice thought to think about, first long weekend. All right, let's check out some of the news items that I just want to make known to you. New Zealand first, another great policy. They say that every woman deserves the option of a 3-day stay after giving birth, if that's what she chooses. They got that bit right. If that's what she chooses as part of postnatal care, that's Winston Peters. And so New Zealand First has guaranteed that every woman up to 3 days will have that rest and recover and bond with their baby. And they'll be working with the Ministry of Health. So that's just... I mean, in some ways, you kind of think to yourself, well, isn't that already the case? But we know that, unfortunately, women are being rushed out of birthing units. In fact, some aren't even given the option of that. So that is a priority. I guess the question is, are the birthing units available around the country? That's the key thing. Interesting story I saw over the weekend was Wellington Phoenix had a terrible season last season. So hopefully they're hoping it's better. But Alex Rufer, now that's not, my understanding is it's not Winton Rufer's son, it's Winton Rufer's nephew. I think I'm right on that. But anyway, they had a bad season, but he said one of the best things about the season was becoming a dad. Have a listen to his comments.
A few players in the past who have become fathers during their career. You've now done that. They talk about a different sense of perspective. You get home and they don't care about the result, do they? Have you gained fresh perspective having become a dad?
Oh, 100%. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. An extremely emotional time, especially after the first sort of 6 months that I had this year with, my body, my health, and, then you arrive, my daughter arrived and it just felt like nothing else mattered. So yeah, it's an amazing feeling, and I just want to be the best dad possible.
Great story. Great lines. Well done to Alex Rufer. Nice story. That was a positive one. On the negative side, we were getting lots of attention around the world. That imagery from Te Pati Maori and the speech in Parliament last week. If you look down the bottom there, you'll see a comment from no less Elon Musk. So this was doing the rounds. In fact, even Joe Rogan got into it as well about the suspension of the House. And even Fox News talked about it. Now, I'm always fascinated that people overseas don't know much about the haka, even though it was included in a Fast and Furious. Was it Fast and Furious? One of the episodes where the girls' soccer team does a haka to scare the opposition. So you think the Americans would know what a haka is. But anyway, here was the coverage.
I wish and I pray that the U.S. Congress, even during the shutdown, would not follow the example of the New Zealand Parliament, which was overtaken this week by Polynesian war cries, complete with face paint.
No, not that. The guarantee was that would not be taking place. The House is suspended.
What was that?
I wish you could have seen the close-up. It's a haka, Polynesian war. They do this thing and they pound out and do this march. But, it would be funny seeing Nancy Pelosi and Rosa DeLauro do the war march. But they suspended Parliament because of this outburst. And that new member, she's a member of this Maori party, which is an indigenous party there in New Zealand. She is being examine, and they may suspend her as well. So we'll see.
There we go. So anyway, we are world famous for all of that. Now, in the Sunday Star Times, they had this article about people who vote for Labour, Te Pati Maori and the Greens, so the left-wing parties. There was just a couple of interesting charts that I just wanted to show you. Firstly, so the green bars are the Green Party, obviously, and the dark red are Te Pati Maori, and red is Labour. So you'll see that Labour's support increases with age, but the support for the Green Party is very young, 18 to 29s, and then lesser as people get older and get brainier. They vote less for the Greens. Similar with Te Pati Maori, but big solid group in that 30 to 39. The other graph was the income distribution. Now, out the right-hand side are wealthy people. Look at the wealth of Te Pati Maori voters. I found that quite ironic, given what they often talk about. Ethnicity, obviously, huge proportion of Maori, people who vote for Te Pati Maori are voters, more split with European around Labour and Greens. One more graph. They did ask a question, should there be more focus on crime? Now, you know what left-wing parties say about crime. You know, we should defund the police, do away with prisons, decriminalise everything. But look at that. Labour, so out the left is strongly agree that lawbreakers should get stiffer sentences. Labour voters out the left, very strong support. But even Te Pati Maori, that brown block, that second column there, somewhat agree that lawbreakers should face stiffer sentences. 33% of Te Pati Maori voters say yes, they should. It's only the Greens, really, who are very liberal around this issue. So just some really interesting information around that. Tragic story that's been doing the rounds. You may have seen it about this show pony, Three Dads, modern party of five. What gets me about this, and once again, the focus is on the wants of the adults, not the needs of the child, as Katie Faust would say, who spoke at our conference 2 years ago. But the Three Dads are raising a 7-year-old, and in fact, they've got another child as well. So this is it. They say they're not a throuple. They're just three parents raising their kids together. And the confusing background, and what gets me is the age. Mark, 59, Tom, 71. They have been, well, they say married, that pretend definition of marriage, for 8 years, became parents through, well, it wouldn't be but natural means, no, surrogacy. And then Mark, 59, met and married Moki, and Moki is 62. So you've got a 59, a 62, and a 71-year-old 3-man team raising kids. But here's the interesting thing, and I thought this just really summed it up, and I'm not quite sure they realised what they were saying in the article. The family also remains close to their surrogate, Ashley. When Bo was about 5, so the girl in the photo there, she told her dad she missed having a mother. That just broke my heart, Mark says. So we called the surrogate, Ashley, and she said, now we have to make it happen in a bigger way. So they call her mum, the surrogate. Once again, the whole article just stinks of the wants of adults, and in this case, very old adults, and the children not getting the priority. Bit of a sad story. Woke Up, we did a feature of Country Road. Country Road are woke. Go to the website wokeup.nz and you can see why we give them that rating. Someone who's decided that woke is not good is Toyota. Now, Toyota has gone away from DEI. They've turned away from some of that wokeness. And they even put out a pro-life ad just recently about a baby that was born without limbs, but has gone on to become a Paralympian champion. Have a watch. No legs.
I've been chasing road to glory, driven since I was a child. They tell you life is a game, but it ain't a game to me. The lights are calling my name. Yeah, I got the energy to put it all on the line. If you knock me down, I'll get up again. I'll get up again. If you knock me down, I'll get up again. I'll get up again. I'll get up again. Now I'm stronger than I've ever been. When we're free to move, anything is possible.
Yes, when we're free to be born as well, anything is possible. Pro-life from Toyota. So there we go. There is some improvement. Right, how did the council results go for you, or the mayors? I see my good friend Tim McIndoe has got the mayoralty of Hamilton. Well done, Tim. I did see this graph over the weekend, though, and this is the increase in rates that we have had. Down the bottom there is actual inflation of 4%, and those lines represent just how much rates have gone up. I mean, if you're in the West Coast, Greater Wellington, Taranaki, Queenstown Lakes, Hastings, Wellington, just massive increase in rates. So I hope you've got some mayors and councillors who are going to restrain their spending, just as we as families have to restrain our spending when things get dearer. This is in Stuff Today. Honestly, I don't know if Maori will be elected after the Maori ward results. Well, the good news, and I checked this just for the hysterics at Stuff, is that I checked the representation of Maori in our population. It's about 17.8%, so let's say 18%. Guess what the Maori representation is in our parliament? It is 27%. So we have a disproportionate number of Maori in parliament compared to the population. So to Glenn McConnell and Stuff and all these hysterics of this councillor, yes, Maori can get elected, and it's happening in our parliament. The headline of the day, so apparently in Westland, there's a possibility that this guy, Jackie Grant, is going to become New Zealand's second transgender mayor. But the headline of the day goes to the bigots at Radio New Zealand. I've just posted this on social media. And this was the headline. Transgender businesswoman, so the dude, Jackie Grant, says Westland voters want mayor with balls to cut rates. Oh, the bigots at Radio New Zealand. Isn't that hilarious? Anyway, that's our headline of the day. Right, this was the tweet of the weekend. Titania says, my friends and I have been out all day protesting against the Gaza ceasefire. We demand a ceasefire that wasn't arranged by Donald Trump. We will never give up the struggle for peace. Now, you'll see down the bottom of that tweet, rate proposed community note. And that's one interesting thing about X, is that they actually have a fact check done by members of the community on X. And so if you click on this rate proposed community note, it reminds people that Titania McGrath, whoever that is, this is satire. The funny thing is, though, that even though it's satire, what makes it funnier is that it's actually probably trying to sorry, I just got distracted by a call there. What makes it funnier is that it's pretty close to the truth, isn't it? I mean, hasn't it gone quiet from all the protesters across the Harbour Bridge and the Greens? In fact, I'm really interested to just see if people like John Minto and Chloe Schwarbrick actually celebrated the Gaza peace deal. I must check for the posts on that. This was the graph of the weekend that I saw. The blue line is Democrats, left-leaning people who panic about environmental alarmism, the carbon footprint of having kids, and basically who don't like children but love abortion. And then the red line is centre-right people, Republicans. And you can see there that Democrats are not having kids. Republicans are. that may not necessarily be a bad thing, is it? Anyway, the Church of England, now, we did last week, we talked about the fact that the Church of England had just appointed a new archbishop, and she is pro-abortion, pro-same-sex blessing, pro-Black Lives Matter, thinks the church is inherently racist to the point that she won't ordain a black minister who doesn't agree that the church is inherently racist. But the Church of England is facing widespread mockery. Let me just show you. It installed graffiti art on the walls and columns of United Kingdom's oldest cathedral. What was the cathedral? Doesn't actually say what the cathedral was. I'm sure, Canterbury Cathedral, oldest cathedral, and they've put all this. I did see who was the actual person who organised it. Now, where is that? Yeah, look, I've lost that, but it was someone who was very left-wing alternative. I think they had non-binary pronouns or something like that. But yeah, that's in the cathedral. You sort of go into the cathedral and expect it to be very holy and historical, but that's what greets you now. So the Church of England in the UK is certainly having some issues. Harvard is having some issues as well. You know, normally you expect academics to teach at a Harvard, no longer. Actually, that's where Jacinda Ardern is, isn't it? Harvard. But anyway, Harvard has hired a drag queen named Lahore Vagistan. Yeah, there's nothing sexual about that name, by the way. But anyway, they've hired a drag queen as a visiting professor. So anyway, anybody who thought that Harvard was of any merit, yeah, think again. Just one other thing, one interesting comment. I've noticed that left-wing media, the love fest between left-wing media and left-wing politicians, I think, is over. And I say that because of what happened here in New Zealand, but also in the US. Let me show you firstly this example. So Te Pati Maori turn up for a stand-up interview with the media, who love Te Pati Maori, but and then it all goes to plan. Okay, so they have this speech, and Te Pati Maori plays the victim card. Have a listen.
The growing pains of 6 very different electorates rowing together. So, and I think we would be lying if you're not seeing some of those cracks. No, we're a really young movement, and it's been tough, I think.
Tough. We've been so much in the weeds, responding to the constant attacks with the Tiriti Awakening, constant attacks on Iwi Māori, constant attack on our wahine Māori and on our women, the constant attack on our rainbow communities, the constant attack on workers. We haven't been able to lift ourselves out and get some air outside of exactly what we've been into in regards to the trenches. So,
oh yeah, so you know, total victims. You know, it's not their fault. Nothing to do with the whole narrative that they push and some of their posts that suggest violence and giving David Seymour a good hiding. Nothing to do with that, of course. But then there is a scene where Mikey Sherman, who's definitely not right-wing conservative, from One News, asks a question about this reset of Te Pati Maori and what about the fractures that they've seen and you know, the group that did the protest to Parliament who say that the Te Pati Maori is run by a dictatorship. Watch what happens. Watch what he does and watch the response of Debbie. It's like she wants to answer the question, but she's literally manhandled away. It's actually quite concerning. Have a watch.
Response to allegations of a dictatorship.
So here's a question they don't like.
Thank you. You first can thank Mikey for that one. Kia ora.
Can I ask just
Incredible. Yeah, amazing. If I manhandled my wife, if you manhandled your wife like that in public, I think probably you would be getting in trouble and people would be calling you out, but, you know, doesn't seem to. Now, the second example of left-wing politicians not loving left-wing media and left-wing media challenging is an example in California. So the person who wants to replace Newman as the governor of of California, that terrible state that's going down the gurgler, is a woman, and she's asked these questions, and the reporter wants her to clarify some of the answers, and watch how this Democrat responds to the questions.
I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
Correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so...
She's lost it.
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered
I don't
our
care.
follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list.
Pleasant.
And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And we're
Porter,
just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
Oh,
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you. And I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either.
Oh.
I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about.
Isn't that hilarious? It's one thing you realize, the camera is never off. And when you have left-wing politicians dictating what questions can be asked, I showed you with Te Pati Maori, and now I show you with these left-wing politicians in California. She wants to be the governor of California. Hopefully she's toasted her chances of doing that. Now, McBlog coming up today, I took one for the team. I went to watch the Jacinda Ardern documentary on Friday. Yep, you can thank me later. So watch out, that'll be dropping today, my film review of Jacinda Ardern's documentary. You can thank me later for going to watch it on your behalf. Speaking of watching things, incredible figures of our detransitioners, their testimonies. At last count, which was late last night, more than 350,000 views of both Issy's and Zara's testimony. Have you watched them yet? Let me just show you just a couple of very quick clips before we go.
Very easy to navigate the transitioning process through the healthcare system in our country, but I'm finding a bit of resistance and lack of care for the fact I want to detransition. Like, I've been starting the process of dropping masculine features. I've got scars, very visible scars. Yeah, I guess it's the consequences of my actions, right?
Yep, so that is Issy, and just a clip from Zara.
Time you're on the waiting list is significantly sped up if they think that there is a danger to your life, or if they think that you're going to kill yourself. I was specifically told that would get me through the system. If I said I was suicidal, that would get me through the system quickly, so I did exactly what they told me to do. The doctor told me when I was going on puberty blockers, it was to help me make a decision. I believed it was just a pause, and it was, in a way, nice to be able to just not have a menstrual cycle for a while. Then I was on testosterone for 2 years. My voice dropped. After about 6 months, I developed facial hair. I gained muscle really quickly. I found it very difficult to cry, and I was very angry. I was still depressed and anxious. The further I got along, the more depressed I got. It was like I was too numb to be anxious.
Yep, so you can watch those online. That is Issy and Zara. There we are. I have actually got a friend here. Here. Come on. Solo, come on. Solo, come on. Up here. There we are. There she is. She's waiting for a walk. Up here. Look. Up here. Ah, she wants a walk. Come on. We've been training all weekend. Come on. Up. There she is. Hello. We'll go for a walk shortly. Okay. Right. Straight talk tonight. There we go. We're going to have fun tonight. Nathan, Sue, Elliot, and Tanya. And I did... Oh, hang on. Let me just check these couple of messages. How do I get these up? Standby caller. Here we go. Jarina says, sorry, watched both interviews. Issy and Zara, brave in bringing their stories to the public arena, reality exposed. And Tanel said, I learnt a lot from their testimony. And here we go. Sherian says, so happy I've found some decent morning news. Thank you. Well, thank you for watching. So there we go. We're out of time, gone well over time. Have a great day. We'll see you Wednesday morning. And don't forget, we'll see you for Straight Talk tonight at 8 o'clock. Have a great day.